Hello. Hello. Hi guys, it's me. Yeah. TV show. Yeah. Um. Two twin sons. You know, it's a it's a good show, but you know, it's a very good show. That's what- Very very good show. I mean, it's a show to where it shows him as being a superhero, but it shows him as being a family man too. I mean, in the cartoon, all you see is the superhero. You never see the family man. You never see that part of him that allows him to be the family man. You know, that allows him to say, "Hey, man, I'm taking off the cape, so I gotta take care of the family. Gotta support my family. You know, and most people don't see that. What I'm saying is, most people don't see that. They don't. They take it as, well, he's Superman and he's a superhero. He really doesn't have to do anything. But actually, he does have a day job. He works as a reporter. He goes out. He reports the news. He finds stories that he can report. He can uncover the mystery and report the story. That's what reporters are. They're basically detectives, but without guns. What they do is they find the story. They find the premise. They find the premise behind the story, and then they tell it. They tell the story like it is. They don't spin it to their own narrative. That's what they. Uh. That's what a reporter does. A reporter tells the story. You know, but you know they try to keep it within a perspective to where they're the ones telling the story. They don't make themselves the story. That's that's the thing. I try to, like, when I watch the TV show, I try to make sure that when I watch it, I'm not watching it just to see him be a superhero. I watch all of the show. I watch the stuff that's going on in his life. Like him being a family man, taking care of his sons, and doing, just doing the things just doing the things that he wants to do. He wanted a family, and then he has one. He takes care of his family, and he does that, and he does it within, because he's a superhero, and he can have anything he really wanted. But he doesn't want to teach his sons that. He wants to teach his sons to be good people. He has. As Superman, he has the power to, have anything he wants, but expect me to do from people, even though I have the power to take anything I want, you know. But what it is the only thing I didn't like about show when it first came on, and they never they see you see Superman when he's like you see him when he's brooding. You never see him when he's smiling. You never see him when he's like interacting with the people, shaking people's hands and stuff like that. I mean, in the first episode, he did talk to a kid. He said hello to him and smiled at him. He and gave him his baseball cap and he just flew off. That type of thing. But you know, Superman also did that in the comic book, but in the comics they never showed him as having a family. It just showed him as being a solitary figure. As for that, but we both know that in the show gives him more of a backstory. It adds to his origin. It's not so much the mystique. It's so much of it's so much of giving him that credibility. His family gives him that credibility. From the time he got that family, and he started interacting, with his family, raising his family, that gave him some credibility. It gave him some credibility. It gave him like it gave his character substance, you know? And that's what most people don't think. Most people think, oh, he's a superhero. They expect him to be Superman all the time. But there's more than just Superman. There's Clark Kent too. And as Clark Kent, he knows that he has certain things that he has to do. You know, Clark Kent wants a family. Okay, as Clark Kent, he can have that. But as Superman, he knows he wants to save the world. He wants to experience life on this planet, not as just Superman, but as Clark Kent too. You see? But that's what it boils down to. I mean, you got shows that don't show you got shows that don't, show the thing of the character being like human. Even though he's superhuman, he has feelings, he has desires, he's a man, he wants to have things that other men have. Family, families, friends, people, you know, family, friends, people. I mean, that's basically the premise behind it. I mean, the family, the family, the family contingent or the family variable gives his character that substance. Without that, you're looking at a two-dimensional character brought to life from a comic book, and he's gonna do the comic book type things. He's just gonna be that one character, but in giving him the family, you're giving Clark Kent a life too, not just as Superman, but as Clark Kent. You see, and that's how it is. You gotta give him that. You gotta give him that. You gotta give him that 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 credibility. That you gotta give him that credit. Most people, right, when they see Superman, when they see a show, that has Superman in the title, they figure, oh, he's gonna be a superhero. I'm gonna watch this, you know. But it's more to that, and that's the thing. It's like the Flash. Even the Flash got married. He has kids. You can't say he's just Flash because he's more than that. He's a superhero. He's what we call he's a man. He's just basically a man. Though he's superhuman, he's still a man. I mean, he's a man, and he does the right thing. He tries to do the right thing regardless, and that's just it. But then, hey, that's what it boils down to. I mean, you can't just say he's a comic book character because he has that family contingent. It gives him credibility. It gives his character substance. That that brings more credibility to his backstory. You know, basically, it just you know he's a, it brings him into the DC universe as well. It brings him as I'm gonna be I'm gonna be this guy. I'm gonna take care of things. I'm gonna do it my way. You know, as it's just crazy. But then it's just crazy. But then hey, but you gotta know. It's like you gotta know. He's he's a person. He's a person. And and that's what it boils down to. He's a person. No matter what people may think of him, he's a person. And Ezra Miller as the Flash, well, it doesn't really. Ezra Miller as the Flash, it doesn't really pan out because I'm gonna tell you, as the Flash, does not he does not embody the spirit of the character that he plays because the Flash was never brash. He was never, you know, he was never quick to run into something that he couldn't handle, you know, but he was always, as as I know him, he was always one of the only characters of the Justice League other than Batman, size up a situation, think of a plan and then execute it. I mean, with Superman, he never had to worry about it. He just flew in and did what he had to do. That was it. Problem solved. All of 22 minutes. You know, he solved a problem that took exactly 11 minutes and what roughly 65 seconds. I mean, in that time, you could have eaten a sandwich, smoked a cigarette, had a soda, all in that time period. I mean, let's give the Flash all the credit he's due. But like I said, those are the comic book adaptations of the characters on the CW. You know, they had to be comic books before they could be CW shows. The shows, the shows are written around the characters, basically. But that's what it is. I mean, you have to realize that though they're though the shows are written around the characters, you have people playing those characters, real life flesh and blood people that give the characters substance, credibility. It adds more to their backstory. It gives them a dimension all their own. That's what it is. I mean, you can't really deny. You can't really deny. You know that takes place. I mean, you're making movies about superheroes. I mean, come on. When they made the first Incredible Hulk episode with Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno playing the Hulk, they not only gave the character of the Hulk uh, character and a personality, but they also gave him um a bigger backstory. Bill Bixby or David Banner, who was the Hulk's real self, you know, you gotta really think. Um, what if the Hulk is the real man, is the everyman's real man? You know, the primal urges of every man wanting to get out and do those things that the Hulk does. You know, the turning over cars and the jumping for miles. I mean, who's to say that that's not? Who's to say that the Hulk isn't? Who's to say that the Hulk isn't? You know, and that the person who's to say the Hulk isn't the everyday man? It's like you have to realize that when it comes down to it, these superheroes that we give life to and a credit to, you know, we we look upon them as well. We look to them as saying, oh, sometimes we'll get into something else. Well, what would they do? Well, we can't do what they do, but we can think our way out like they do. Or sometimes you would. I remember when I was a little kid watching like the Batman TV show. And I don't think if I was Batman, what would I do? I mean, I'm being bullied by this big kid. I mean, what would I do? I mean, Batman would talk his way out, but there's no talking to this kid. This kid is gonna. This kid is gonna. This kid is gonna do what he's gonna do. He's gonna, you know, hit me no matter what. So, what would Batman do? Well, what a Batman of today would defend himself. He would literally beat this kid to a pulp, you know. But the Batman that I grew up with, the Adam West type Batman, would literally say, look, he would, he would literally say this, don't. He would literally say, don't. You know, it's not, it's not the kind of thing that, you know, Adam West's Batman would do. He would basically try to talk his way out of stuff. You know, all the punching and kicking, that's just for effect. It's not really what Batman would really do. Because let's say Batman isn't the type of character that would do that. He's not meant to do that. He wasn't meant to do that at first. But then when people like Zack Snyder and other people got a hold of him, the character, they wrote Batman and being grim and sullen, kind of a brooding superhero. He was alone. He was alone. And that's true. Batman was alone when he first started out. He was alone. He didn't have Robin. No, he didn't have Batgirl. He did have cops chasing him all the time. But that was Batman's thing. Batman did what was right, even though the people chased him, he did what was right. And I'm gonna tell you, whenever they would chase him, even though they got tired of chasing him, Batman would never try to intentionally hurt anybody. If anything, Batman would do something to trip him up, or he would make it hard for them to, continue their chase. By spraying oil on the road, or he would just outrun them using the Batmobile. But he would never hurt anybody when it comes down to that. And the criminals that he fought when he was the earlier version of Batman, he always tricked them into hurting themselves. He never actually hurt anybody. He never used any lethal weapons or anything. But Zack Snyder's Batman, they turned him into a grim character using razor edged weapons like his boomerang, his batarang, or they call it. It's nothing but a boomerang with sharp edges. He could throw that thing and decapitate you. Or Batman had these little pellets. He could shoot out his gauntlets, and they were almost like bullets, but they were barbarians, and they would hit you, and they would hurt. They would actually hurt. Or he'd do stuff like if you were a criminal and he had to fight with you, you know, Zack Snyder and Chris Nolan, they wrote Batman to where Batman, if he had to fight you, there was no I'm gonna beat you up and then I'm gonna tie you up like Adam West's Batman. No, he didn't show that type of restraint. He would beat you and literally he would break bones, and that's the type of thing that Batman would do. And the character they would have the character do, and I never understood why that you would have a non-violent character like Batman turn into somebody like that. I mean, it's crazy when you look at it because the TV show was never like that. TV show was never like the movie. I mean, it was always fun and campy and kind of hokey and kind of corny. But then it was funny because you knew half the stuff that Batman had. The shark repellent, yeah, like you want to spray that underwater. Yeah, you can spray something on it. You can spray something on a shark and make them go away. Because their noses are very sensitive. Yeah, you can even spray it in their eyes and blind them. But um, as for as for spraying it on them and making them blow up, yeah, that'll never happen. But like I said, it was a campy, funny type show for kids. It was never meant to be anything but that. But you got Batman being so dark these days. I mean, they even changed his look. I mean, he used to have a gray and black suit. when he was in the comic book, you know, with you know, with like the cape, the glider cape and whatever. He had that, but now they've got Batman to where he's dark and he has a belt full of weapons and he's brooding and he's not afraid to hurt you, that sort of thing. And you know, and kids they look at Batman, they look at today's Batman and they think, oh wow, I would like to be him, But in essence, if I had to if I had to make a movie about um actual superheroes, I would make one. The least violent superhero I could actually name would be Plastic Man, because Plastic Man is kind of funny. His villains, his villains were basically he would drive. Plastic Man would basically drive his villains insane by the things he do. I mean, and um him and the other guy, what's his name? The vigilante. I remember one episode of one Chronicle of Justice Society, where they had to go up against this guy. He was killing Secret Service agents. So what the vigilante did was he set himself up to be president detail, so that the guy would come after him. So the guy shot him, and you seen his body fall, right? And they were having his funeral like the day after. They put a dummy in a coffin and burying it. You know, and the guy was standing over his grave, um, saying stuff like, "Yeah, I got you. I got you. Yeah, I finally killed you. You were a real pain. Yeah, you were a real pain when you were alive. You were driving me crazy, right?" But all the while he's saying this, the vigilante standing not. The vigilante standing right. He's not. He's standing not too far from the guy. He's just looking at him. He's following this guy around, and he's taking little pot shots. And like the guy was going to go get in his car, the vigilante shot at him. Right, he took the mirror right off the car. Like his shot was so close, he took the mirror right off the car. And the guy was looking around trying to see who fired at him, but he couldn't find out who shot at him. So so he figured, oh wow, it's just one of the kids playing around. So he got his car and he went to drive off, and the car was ticked. The car he started up, and something in the car started ticking. So he got scared and jumped out of the car, and the car blew up. He was like, now this isn't a joke anymore. This guy is playing for keeps. He got scared, and the guy started, the guy started saying, what he say? He called the cops because he was really scared of the vigilante. He was like, he was like, come and get me. I give up. I surrender. Telling the cops where to pick him up, right? But all while he's on the phone telling the cops where to pick him up, um, vigilante, he's just standing on a corner. He's smoking a cigarette. He's looking at the guy with a big goofy grin on his face. And the guy went to come out of phone booth and come around the corner and get in his car. The vigilante, the vigilante was sitting on the hood of his car and was like this. He was like, "So, you're the guy who finally got me, huh?" And the guy starts freaking out. All of a sudden, the guy starts freaking out. And he says, "Okay, I give up. I give up. Take me in." He says, "Take me in. Take me in. I give up. I give up." He says, okay, I give up, I give up. Take me in, please. Right? So the cops come and they get the guy. And the guy is explaining to him that the vigilante is not really dead. And the cop is like, yeah, he's dead. We buried him early this morning. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I saw him. He's in the coffin, right? The guy was like, dig him up, right? We'll prove it. And the cops was like, we're not gonna waste the taxpayers' time to exhumate a body. So the guy is sitting in jail, right? While they transferred him to prison. The guy gets a letter in prison from the vigilante saying, hello. He says, hello. Yeah, I hope you're enjoying your time in prison. So the vigilante would send him little packages, right? Like every couple months, send him a care package. He's so scared of the vigilante, it's not funny. So the vigilante tells him, "Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'm here. I'll I'll protect you. But you gotta do something for me. You gotta confess to my crime." So what he did was he confessed to the murder of the vigilante, who's not really dead. So what it was they went to put him in prison. Instead, they put him in a lunatic asylum because he actually thought that he killed the vigilante. I mean, it's crazy. It's something. I mean, now that's a superhero that thought his way out of stuff. He didn't resort to violence. He just gaslighted the guy to the point where the guy confessed. You know, but I'm gonna let you guys go, and I'll give you guys. You know, I'll let you guys think about it.